having a vision for your life, having a vision for your practice, and then seeing that through is, I think, the name of the game.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to have a vision. We all have core values. We have to make sure our behaviors are matching our belief system, right? So that's everything.
All right, so Dr. Bobby Fano, Doctor of Chiropractic, is a certified Gonstead chiropractor, entrepreneur, health and life coach, published author, product innovator, digital marketing enthusiast, world-class adventurer, and sought-after teacher. As a recognized authority of the Gonstead Technique, he has served over 100,000 patient visits with excellence for more than a decade. He believes the best way to build an extraordinary practice is by living an extraordinary life. You can most often find him on the mountains, on the sea with his beautiful wife and 3 children, practicing with his own family what he lovingly teaches his patients to do: live the vertical life. Hence, his practice is named Vertical Chiropractic. Joining me now is Dr. Bobby Fano. Dr. Bobby, welcome to the channel. It's good to have you.
Hey, thanks for having me, Steve.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm grateful to be here.
Absolutely. So, you know, I will first talk about a little bit about my own personal background and story with how I came across you and kind of got to know you a little bit. I believe I met you first at one of the Gonstead Methodology Institute seminars. And then I believe I started following on your Instagram page soon after that and got to know you a little bit more. Gonstead diplomate, you know, I know you're out and practicing out in Redding, California. And I was just really enthused by your just teaching and your passion and just how well you could relate with other chiropractors, but also with students. And so I feel that relatability and knowing you more about your own background in business with also your creative mindset and how that's kind of come together through chiropractic, it's been really cool to see and watch everything that you're doing. But why don't we first get into just your overall story I'm always interested in hearing people's chiropractic story, as I know everyone here watching this is too. So why don't you share your chiropractic story and how you chose to want to become a chiropractor?
Thanks, Steve. Thanks so much. So for me, it started actually not knowing what I wanted to do, right? So I was in college and I was on a pre-med track because I was into health. I was working out at that time I thought I knew what health was, but obviously the whole inside out paradigm wasn't a part of my life at that time. So just kind of doing the college thing and just realizing, hey, I don't know what I want to do, which is quite normal, right? For somebody who's about 18 years old. So I kind of, just remembered back in the day being a kid, and my cousin was in chiropractic school and he would just talk about this Gonstead technique. And I just really love the word Gonstead for some reason. So I just remember like opening an ear and hearing these conversations happen. I was like, hey, I'm going to chiropractic school, so I probably got in for, the reasons of, I wanted to work like 3 days a week. I wanted to be a doctor. But once I got to chiropractic school, man, I fell in love with the principle. I fell in love with the lifestyle and just was a sponge, just soaking in all the knowledge I can get. So the cool thing was my cousin, he's about 10 years older than me. He was like, hey, get in a Gonstead club. So I had 6 months of prerequisites to take. So during that time, I mean, the day I stepped on campus, I was in Gonstead club. So I was actually like getting hands-on, palpating, and just learning as much as I could. So that's all I really know is, the Gonstead world, and I've been doing it for 13 years and still love it to this day.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's kind of in many ways too. Whenever I came into school, that was what I was kind of only knew was Gonstead at the time, because I saw videos from Dr. Ian and Dr. Rahim, and I saw that, they were Gonstead chiropractors. And so I came to school and all I really knew of was Gonstead. And I didn't know there was even a club. Like, I didn't know that I knew nothing when I was coming into school, I had no idea what was ahead of me. And I was like, wait, there's technique clubs and stuff to learn this stuff. I was like, that's pretty cool. And so I had a friend of mine drag me into Gonstead club, and I was like, wow, this is so awesome. And so I was pretty much like committed from day one. And so you went to Life University as well.
Yep.
Right. Was that process because also your cousin was also going through or went to
Yeah,
Life
he went to
University?
that school. I actually have a few cousins that went through that program.
Got it.
So yeah, so went there and had a great experience. Learned a ton. Really, just backtracking what you were saying about Gonstead. I really love the history of Dr. Gonstead, what he did, what he accomplished. It's really extraordinary, and just being in the Gonstead clinic kind of really seals that like wow factor in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
ways. So yeah, loved it. I became the president of the Gonstead Club there at Life University.
Let's
We
go.
had 100 strong every week, had great
Let's go. We
mentors.
still do.
Yeah, I know. And it's there's definitely a legacy there
Yeah.
that was created and a momentum.
Right.
So I always tell people I was backyard trained in a lot of ways because I didn't really I traveled as much as I could, but having a family while I was in school, I was limited. And it seems like today, a lot of students are limited too, right? With the environment
Yep.
that we live in today, with
100%.
limited travel, etc. So I had mentors. I followed docs. I visited offices, watched the videos, read books, all that good stuff.
Yeah, 100%. And that's a question I get asked a lot is kind of like, okay, how do you learn this stuff? How do you become like a true master of your trade or master of the craft? How do you learn this Gonstead stuff? I mean, you just nailed it on the head. Like you just get involved in everything that's available to you, which is the clubs, which are the seminars, which are going and visiting the Gonstead clinic, like you mentioned, reading all of the
Yeah.
books, reaching out to docs. Like that's just kind of the accumulation of all that knowledge to get thrown in. So you obviously the path was cut out for you. You're going to do Gonstead. It's all you knew. But what got you because I know once you get into the program, it's kind of like can get pulled in a million different directions. You get taught a lot of different stuff. There's a lot of things thrown at you, a lot of different opinions and principles. So what really kept you steadfast and committed onto the Gonstead path?
I really believe you have to have a vision. You got to see who you want to be as a chiropractor, what you want to do, who you want to impact. So that really kept me going. I have an amazing wife that just really pushed me forward too. I had friends, that were accountable to me. So really just being a part of a community, quitting is not an option. Gonstead chiropractic is one of the hardest techniques out there. So you really got to put in the work. You really got to, have that vision that's going to pull you forward. Living from your core values is really important as well. So for me, I was like, man, it just made sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was taught going into school, don't be a jack of all trades, be a master of one,
Mm-hmm.
so you can really set yourself apart. So, the reality is putting all that time into knowing all these different techniques and trying to be an expert at all those techniques is a difficult task. So for me, I
100%.
was like, hey, I'm going to stay focused. I'm going to have my little niche, so to speak, and I want to take care of families. So that's what drove me.
Yeah, 100%. It's like if you try to shoot wide, you may get nothing, but you shoot deep, you can, catch a net full of fish. I don't know that I just kind of made that quote up, but it's so true to always go deep and try to, yeah. I was like, I don't know where I'm going with that. I thought like it was going to come to me as I was going with it, but it's all right. We get the point. We get the point.
Totally. And I had a great friend who we studied together, we learned together. So that was a huge, I think, part of my success as well.
Got it. Yes, having that core group, with you as well going through. Yeah. Got it. And so so you came into school, you got involved with the club Q1. Did you get your copy of chapters right out of the gate? Were you, starting to get plugged in with the seminars? Like how involved were you from the beginning?
Yeah. Chapters, Purple Book, we had, I don't know how you guys operate now with the club, but we had these supplemental workbooks as well.
Mm-hmm.
So just, digging deep, also getting into, even some other things that are out there, like extremity work, some other Gonstead docs have written other books, pediatrics, pregnancy, etc. So just getting the knowledge in, acting like a sponge, soaking it in, and, practice makes perfect. So time and repetition every day, working on it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I have Pediatric Chiropractic, which is Claudia Anrig's book as well. Gregory Plogger, I believe, was in on that as well. And then, of course, the Dr. Working as well. Rest in peace as well. Great extremity master. Didn't get a chance to do his seminar series, but I have a few of his like workbooks from people who went to his seminars. So plus, obviously, his textbook that he wrote. So I have that as well. Just incredible information. Yeah. And that's the thing with the Gonstead work is it's all inclusive. Like there's nothing, a big kind of rebuttal to a lot of other techniques is like, they all have their own limitations. It's like, this is great for this segment of people, but if you really want to get into this and this and this, you got to learn all this other stuff. And that to me was confusing and overwhelming because I'm like, I have to learn all these different things, but how do I know the indications for when to do this technique or this approach or this adjustment? Versus with the Gonstead, it's much more than a technique, more than it is an actual system, And so it's not like you're just doing this for this one patient. You're doing the whole system for every single patient because it's a human system that we're involved with, not necessarily like a certain segment or population of people. So you can do everything from pediatrics all the way to geriatrics, use extremities. You can really custom made it to your niche and the people that you're really serving.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all inclusive. So I don't have the mindset of this person needs this technique. This person needs this technique. I subscribe to Gonstead Chiropractic actually works for everybody from a baby that's hours old to someone into their 90s. So whether you're an athlete or, whatever your endeavor may be, you're a candidate for chiropractic.
Yeah, very cool. And now you mentioned the path to mastery at the craft. I know you're a Gonstead diplomate as well. I'm also curious to know, as maybe some people watching this, like, what is the diplomate process? What is it? And what do you have to do to become a diplomate?
We talked about vision, right? So I had a vision that after 3 years in practice, I was going to show up and take the test, the diplomate test. I think club is a really great prerequisite to that. So becoming a certified officer, because you kind of get an experience that's very similar, right? So you have to have the book knowledge, right? You have to actually apply yourself, physically, and go through some scenarios with, case management, having a patient in front of you. So, I think it's a really great idea if you want to go higher in the Gonstead technique and become certified, after you're done with school and you're licensed, having that officer experience, plus you're teaching it. So obviously you can't teach it unless you know it. So really ingraining that knowledge into you, into the subconscious mind is huge. So for me, 3 years, I got all my hours in. So you have to have a certain amount of hours before you can actually take the test, and you have to be 3 years out of practice to sit for it. So, I highly recommend it because not only is it a great accomplishment for yourself, but also you're in a community of other diplomates. There's not many of us in the world. So being
how many are there now? Do you know?
I'm going to say about 70.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Throughout the world. So, and then there's fellows as well, which is a step above that. So being a part of that community, we have a seminar every year that we meet with the GCSS. I think it's huge, community, being with like-minded individuals and sharpening your sword, so to speak, is, just a part of growth and being great at what you do.
Right. 100%. Yeah. And that, the officer test, it's no joke. It's for a student, at least. I don't know what it was like when you took it, but yeah, I know now, it's a 2-part exam. You have a 50 question written portion with a 9-part practical portion. If you pass, and you have to pass the written first, and it's a 2-day thing, and it's very, very intense. I mean, many people, I can attest that it's been the hardest exam I've ever taken. Most people say it's even harder than your boards, which I certainly believe. But it's what it prepares you for. It prepares you to be able to teach the the technique, and it really sets a foundation for, I believe, your future practice and for your future, your future career. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
hard to
very cool.
makes it great.
Right.
Right.
100%. 100%. So what was your ambition? And so after you got out of school, what happened then after graduation?
So I graduated. I actually took my electives in the chiropractic program, in the master's program that we had at Life University. So I was on this track of getting a master's in sports health science, with a specialization in sport injury management. So I was halfway done with it. So I actually enrolled to finish that, which took about 9 months. I was teaching. I was invited to be an adjunct faculty at Life University. So I was teaching some Gonstead labs and some full spine classes, which I'm super grateful for that experience. So I kind of got to see the other side of a chiropractic education.
Yeah, that's huge.
And practice part-time. So I actually interned while I was in school, with a doctor. And after they hired me on, and it was actually a really, really great experience. Right. I learned how to talk to patients, right? And just learned human behavior and how to create an amazing experience for my patients. So you make a lot of mistakes getting out of school, but you also get to learn from it, and you get to become a better doctor as a result.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I did. And then I knew I wanted to, start my own practice, and I was eyeing Colorado. So after about 9 months to a year, after I graduated, actually I practiced for 2 years in Georgia. Okay. Now that I think about it, I was ready to open my first practice. So I actually hired a coach, which was, I think, a huge part of my success, was hiring somebody that's been in practice for a lot of years. They know the chiropractic business. So opened up shop in Durango, Colorado, and within 6 months, I was seeing 300 a week. So wow. It was a great experience. It was awesome. Loved practicing there. And now I'm in California. I always want to live in California. So started an office here, sold my other practice to an associate that was working for me, and she's doing awesome. So.
Man, that's so incredible. That's so cool to see that. Like, it's almost kind of like the evolution of where, of kind of where you started to where you're going. And it's kind of like the skills sort of like started to replicate and build on top of one another. I mean, was that always your dream from the beginning? Like, if you look at your practice now, Vertical Chiropractic, and everything you've done and created, how intact was that vision when you were, say, graduating school? Or did things just like completely, like your vision completely changed once you saw reality and actually even maybe got a better vision for yourself?
Yeah, I think it morphs and changes. Yeah. I really do. I think, depending on which stage of life that you're in, your priorities change.
Yeah.
So having kids, the reason why I moved away from Colorado was I just wanted more opportunity for my kids. We're in a small town. So, that kind of spearheads some decision making. And then now, being in practice for 13 years and kind of doing, I'm ready for another phase where, we're building a team, we're getting, multiple doctors in our clinic, we're expanding the Vertical Chiropractic brand by opening other branches throughout the country. Yeah. So we just want to impact more people.
Yeah.
I want to leverage also, my teaching passion. So I want to teach other young docs, students on how to hit the ground running,
Right.
How can we go farther, faster?
Right. Yeah, it's so cool. And so let's dive into, a little bit about your practice a little bit. I mean, obviously you're a Gonstead office. And we mentioned that Gonstead can see everyone under the sun, but if you had say like, who are the people that you serve? What is your practice all about?
So I have a family practice. My heart is, I love taking care of families. Yes, I take care of athletes. I take care of, a lot of the music industry, different, just different people. Yeah. The way that I like my environment is I want different walks of life, people in different places in their life, young, old. So it just brings a lot of variety and it just creates this awesome environment that we have here.
Yeah.
So we, it's a lot of fun, and that's part of, it's a huge part of what I need is it needs to be fun, right? We need to get results, obviously. So I put a lot of attention into the experience for the patient.
Yeah.
Meaning, hey, how's the environment, right? How are our systems? Let's make sure that, everything we're doing is streamlined, lots of value, right? And of course, results, and then stimulating those referrals so we can help more people.
Yeah, 100%. And I can just tell, I mean, I've seen some of your videos. I haven't had a chance. I need to come out and see your practice in person.
Yeah, come on out.
For sure. But I can just tell like the energy, that's such a big thing. Me learning, the practice side of things. It's like the office culture and the energy that you create is huge. I mean, even with the healing process, a lot of it is the intention of how you're making people feel. Throughout like you said, it's the experience. That's why a lot of docs call it the Gonstead experience, because it's the whole, everything from the moment they walk in the door to the moment they leave, and then the healing that takes in between is just the critical main component there.
Right? Yeah, we experience life through our senses, right?
100%.
Right. What are the visuals? What are the smells? What are what kind of music's playing? All those things. I think we're all looking for that. Like for me, when I'm, going to an amazing restaurant, we want to have a great experience, right? Not only is the food need to be amazing, but also like, the interaction with the staff, the environment, all that good stuff. So that's what we try to emulate here at Vertical.
Yeah, 100%. And plus, like you said, for yourself too, your average practice member might be coming in for whatever X amount of time, but you're going to be there all day, every day, so it's like
we're showing up. We're
right.
giving 100%.
Yeah.
Everything we have, we're loving.
Exactly.
That's the main thing too. Is just really loving our patients well.
Yeah.
Making them feel like they're at home.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, that's
absolutely. And be authentic in that. You know what I mean? That's a major thing too. So cultivating that energy is everything, right? So cultivating, what we want to manifest on the external has to be inside first. Right.
100%.
So our external environment or our external world is determined by our internal operating system.
Yeah, that's 100% true. Yeah, exactly. And I've been learning so much more about that, like the power of a lot of, because everyone wants to be a great chiropractor. I don't think anyone comes into this profession thinking, I'm just going to be mediocre. I'm just going to be average. I might get some people,
right.
Not, whatever. I'll just be okay. Like, I think we all want to be great chiropractors. And I say this a lot on my channel, like the goal is to be the best chiropractor you can possibly become. That was always my dream, literally from day one. I'm like, I know nothing about this, but I want to be the best I can be because I know it's amazing. And, and where I'm at now in the process, I've realized a lot of the external factors, which I believe I nailed that down by finding and honing in on the Gonstead technique. I mean, the system is absolutely, I think far bar none, the best system that is in chiropractic. I hands down believe that it just is. But then I found a lot of what makes the chiropractor great. And I've seen this in you. I've seen this with so many of the other Gonstead diplomates and just great chiropractors in general from all over the world. It's a lot of who they are as a person as well. And it's a lot about the energy they cultivate. And I think to me, that comes from the intent, right? Like to me, that comes from the intent that you have. And yeah, do you want to talk on that a little bit about like the overall just intention and more or less, I guess, like what role does that play to you?
I think it's everything. I think just like you were saying, everyone wants to feel good, right? We show up in life as our best selves when we're feeling good about ourselves, when we understand ourselves, right? When we're in positive environments. So I think you hit it on the nail. We all want that. It's part of the human experience. Right. And so that's what we're doing here. We're high-fiving, we're keeping it positive. We're encouraging. That's what I'm doing with my inside my own home, right?
Yeah.
With my amazing wife, Brandy. I mean, she's a life coach. So yeah, we practice what we preach. Yeah. We're awesome. Always growing. We always, are moving forward and looking at things like the cup's half full, right?
Right.
I'm teaching my kids that, right? So, going backwards again, having a vision for your life, having a vision for your practice, and then seeing that through is, I think, the name of the game.
Yeah. That's
Right?
awesome.
You
Yeah.
have to have a vision. We all have core values. We have to make sure our behaviors are matching our belief system,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's everything.
Yeah. That is everything. And I
Yeah.
think yeah.
So on the other side of that equation, if I'm like low energy, if my posture's off,
Right.
right? I mean, who's going to be excited
That's
about
something.
that?
You're
Seeing
right.
their
Exactly.
chiropractor,
Right. Mm-hmm.
right? And I tell my, I'm like, hey, we got to get that posture rocking. It's going to help your emotional state, right? It's going to supercharge your brain, right? And it's easier to get excited about life when your
Mm-hmm.
posture, right? Our body's telling our brain what to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Movement is like supercharges the brain, right?
Right.
We know that's happening. We know that's what the scientific literature is saying,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if we want to have like awesome emotions, right, a healthy emotional um, world inside of us, we have to make sure our body is healthy. We have to make sure our
100%.
posture, right, is by design. We have to make sure that we're like fueling ourselves correctly, right? That we're moving our body every day, we're exercising, all those things, all those pieces,
100%.
right? And
100%.
all that is definitely going to help our relationships.
Absolutely. And it's practicing what you preach as well from the doctor standpoint. For future doctors watching this, it's how many times I couldn't stand this when you go to the doctor's office, and the doctor's coming in here and, prescribing you something or doing this or doing that. But it's like the doctor's like super fat. Let's just call it what it is. Like they're fat and unhealthy. And you see, you look what they got in the little break room. There's Coca-Cola in there. There's chips and all these things. And I'm like, they're in the health and healing profession, yet they're more sicker than ever. What does that think about? And I think it's a lot of that. I mean, you just saw in that energy and passion as you were expressing that. I know that you pass it on to your patients, but it's true because a lot of that is just what you're practicing on a daily basis and you see the value of it in your own life. So it's easier to
Yeah.
transmit that into others. And so I think if we're trying to be in the natural healing profession and try to get, what are we doing? We're turning the power on in the body. We're allowing people to heal naturally without drugs, without surgeries. To be in this realm, a lot of that is getting people to make changes in their own health and life as well. And it's giving them that positive energy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ultimately, we have to take responsibility for our life and our circumstances, and that's exactly what I teach my patients to do is we educate them on them understanding their own spine. Because
Yeah.
once you actually take responsibility for where you are in your health, then you can change it, right? Then you're going to show up, right?
Right.
Then you're going to make things happen.
Right.
So that's what I want to do. That's what I want our patients to do. And that's how we operate here. So ultimately we got to take that responsibility. So a lot of times I feel like I'm a tour guide, and I keep my patients accountable,
Yeah.
so we're not just here to be buddy with people. We need to keep them accountable too and make sure
Yeah.
if they're showing up, we're doing the work, we're giving our best work, and we're getting results.
Yeah. 100%. That's so true. And
It's a
getting
dance.
results. It's all a
It's a
dance.
dance. Life's a dance,
Mm-hmm.
right? I had a patient that was like, are you like this all the time? All like high. I'm like, yeah, I have to be. This is how I am at home. And I become
Yeah.
friends with a lot of my patients, because what you see in the office is what you get, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want my kids to be the same way. I'm like, wait a minute, you can't be one way in school and then a different way at home, right?
Yeah.
We got to be congruent. We got to be,
Mm.
our best selves all the time.
Yeah.
So we got to figure out what those ingredients are.
Yeah. 100%. That's so true. Well, awesome. This has been such a cool conversation. I know we're up on a 30 minutes. I saw your team member kind of peeking in here. What's going on? So you got Dr. Bobby. He's got a full shift coming up, right? I mean, he's
Oh yeah.
living the life. He's living the
Oh
life.
yeah.
You've got a full day ahead of you, which is super awesome. How many patients are you planning on seeing today?
About 100.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
We're gonna pump our patients up. We're gonna get them high vibe.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
excited.
awesome. Yeah,
I
that's
love what I
awesome.
do.
That's so cool. Well, very awesome, Dr. Bobby. Well, hey, I know this has been a short conversation. We touched the surface on a lot of things, but I enjoyed this conversation. I'm sure everyone here watching did as well. If people want to learn more about you, follow you, where's the best place to get in touch with you?
Yeah, thanks. Instagram, Dr. Bobby Fano DC is my handlebar. So you can message me there, follow me there. That's the best place to reach me.
Got it. Awesome. I'll put that as well as all your socials down in the show notes below. Dr. Bobby, this has been awesome. We got to get you to come to Life University, hopefully at some point.
Man,
yeah,
I would love to come out there.
Yeah.
That's there's definitely a piece of my heart there for 100%. Sure. All 100%. The time. So
yeah, that's awesome. But you guys can see too, I know we didn't even touch with COVID and things, how that's affecting things. And a lot of people question about how that's shifting the landscape environment. Yet Dr. Bobby's here serving and seeing 100 people a day. You know, it's just the fire doesn't stop. Right.
It can't.
It can.
We need to move forward. We need to educate, you know, our communities on, you know, the just power of the body.
Yeah.
You know, the power of nature, and how our internal, you know, living life from the inside out, you know, in health really makes us strong and really determines, you know, what we can, you know, battle and, you know, as far as like viruses out there and whatnot, and how we live our lives.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No fear. Exactly. Well, awesome, Dr. Bob. It's been a pleasure. We'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me, Stephen.
Yeah,
good to see you.
Yep.
So what's up, guys? I hope you enjoyed that interview. If you did, give it a like, and I'm curious what your biggest takeaways were, so leave those in the comments below. And if you want to see more content like this about chiropractic, then consider giving this channel a subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.